The Battle of Varna, fought on November 10, 1444, was a decisive and tragic confrontation between the Christian forces of the Kingdom of Poland and Hungary, led by King Władysław III and John Hunyadi, against the vast and disciplined armies of the Ottoman Empire under Sultan Murad II. This battle was the culmination of the Crusade of Varna, a military campaign encouraged by Pope Eugene IV and various European rulers with the hope of driving the Ottomans out of the Balkans and halting their expansion into Central Europe. The crusade had begun with considerable optimism, as the Christian coalition had made early advances, exploiting the temporary peace between Hungary and the Ottomans. Murad II had previously abdicated in favor of his young son, Mehmed II, retreating into retirement, but when the Christian forces violated the peace treaty and launched their campaign, he was forced to return to power to confront the imminent threat. The Christian army, numbering between 20,000 and 30,000 men, consisted of Polish and Hungarian knights, Wallachian auxiliaries under Prince Vlad II Dracul, Serbian contingents, and forces from the Papal States and the Holy Roman Empire. Despite their determination, they found themselves facing a much larger Ottoman army of approximately 50,000 to 60,000 troops, which included janissaries, cavalry, and elite units battle-hardened from years of warfare. The battlefield was located near the Bulgarian Black Sea port of Varna, where the Christian forces had hoped to link up with Venetian and Genoese naval support that never arrived. With their backs to the sea and no viable route for retreat, they were forced to stand and fight against overwhelming odds. John Hunyadi, one of the most skilled commanders of the time, devised a battle strategy aimed at exploiting weaknesses in the Ottoman formation. He positioned the Christian forces strategically, with the center composed of heavy cavalry and infantry, while the flanks were guarded by Hungarian and Wallachian troops. The Ottomans, meanwhile, formed a crescent-shaped defensive line, with elite janissaries guarding the center, the Sultan's standard positioned in the middle of their camp, and cavalry units securing the wings. The battle began with a series of attacks by the Christian forces, and initially, they gained the upper hand. The Hungarian and Polish cavalry launched ferocious charges, breaking through some of the Ottoman lines and even causing temporary disorder among the enemy ranks. Hunyadi's tactical maneuvers allowed the Christian forces to inflict heavy casualties, and for a brief moment, victory seemed within reach. However, the tide of battle turned due to a fateful and reckless decision by King Władysław III. Ignoring Hunyadi's careful strategy, the young and impulsive king decided to personally lead a direct assault against the core of the Ottoman army, attempting to break through to Sultan Murad II and capture or kill him. This charge, carried out by a few thousand heavily armored knights, was initially effective but soon became disastrous. The janissaries, well-trained and disciplined, held their ground, and the attack stalled. The Ottomans swiftly countered, surrounding the Władysław and his knights. In the confusion, the king's horse was either cut down or stumbled, throwing him to the ground, where he was killed. According to some sources, he was beheaded by Ottoman soldiers, and his severed head was later displayed on a pike in Murad's camp. His body was never recovered. With the death of their king, panic spread through the Christian ranks. Hunyadi attempted to salvage the situation, urging his troops to regroup and continue fighting, but the morale of the army had been irreparably shattered. The disorder escalated into a full-scale retreat, with many soldiers either fleeing into the surrounding terrain or being cut down by the pursuing Ottomans. The battle ended in a catastrophic defeat for the Christian coalition, leaving thousands dead on the battlefield. Some of the survivors managed to escape, including Hunyadi, but the overall impact of the loss was devastating. The defeat at Varna had far-reaching consequences. It shattered any immediate hope of stopping the Ottoman advance into Europe, allowing the empire to solidify its hold over the Balkans. Hungary, now leaderless and vulnerable, faced internal instability in the years that followed. Poland, too, suffered a political crisis due to the unexpected death of Władysław III, who became known posthumously as Warnensis in recognition of his sacrifice. Meanwhile, Sultan Murad II emerged victorious, reaffirming Ottoman dominance and paving the way for future conquests. Less than a decade later, in 1453, the Ottomans would achieve their most significant victory with the capture of Constantinople under Mehmed II. The Battle of Varna remains one of the most significant and tragic battles of the late medieval period. It symbolized both the last major Christian attempt to expel the Ottomans from the Balkans and the increasing power of the Ottoman Empire, which would continue to expand for centuries. The battlefield, where the dreams of a crusader victory were shattered, stands as a historical reminder of the fierce struggles between Christian Europe and the rising Ottoman superpower.